Let's talk.
The hour of 6:30 having arrived, I will call the regular meeting of the Columbus Common Council to order for Tuesday, February 7th, 2017. Ann will take the roll.
Reed is excused. Rule,
Here.
Tone,
Here.
Traxler,
Here.
Hendrickson,
Here.
Palat.
Here.
Crombie.
Here. Thank you. If you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And this meeting was noticed in accordance with Wisconsin state statutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Mr. Mayor.
Could I ask that item number 15 be removed and referred to the cow for next time?
Okay.
That was supposed to be on the cow, so.
Any further discussion? All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with 15 being referred to the next committee of the whole.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence and communications. Patrick, do you have... well, first, we do have a citizen signed up, so we could do that first. We have Steve Lang, it looks like, signed up tonight. Yep. Come up there.
I just wanted to address the winter parking ordinance. I know, obviously, anyone who's lived in Columbus, it's been an issue and it's changed over the last 3-4 years, and it was updated. The street signs were updated to the alternate side, or to the 2 inches of snow. But there's still an issue with the public parking. And as of the month of January, the police department has been writing out tickets for alternate side parking even when there's not snow. And I have addressed the issue with a few people. I've addressed it with Michael, I've addressed it with the chief himself, I've addressed it with the head of the Department of Works. And I'm told because the sign is currently an existing sign that, because it hasn't been updated, that they can still be writing tickets. So I addressed it with Dan, the chief, and I asked him why after 3 or 4 tickets, I went to question him. I'm like, I thought this was a 2-inch policy, like the street. I was under the assumption. And I'm like, why hasn't there been any tickets for the whole month of December? And he told me specifically, this is a quote from him, that because business owners were complaining in the downtown area, that he started writing out tickets. And I'm like, well, logically, that doesn't make any sense. It seems like we have a conflict between the reason why you guys, I'm assuming, had enacted the 2-inch policy was probably to avoid this situation. I live just on Ludington here, so there's a lot of apartment owners and homeowners that don't have places to park, as you guys know. If not, there's parking around here. So they're continually writing out tickets, and I haven't got the records for it, but I had to set up court dates for every one of these tickets, and there's probably a number. I don't know if anyone else has went through the process of fighting it, but 10 tickets have turned into about $1,000 expense for me in a court hearing in March. So I have no recall, and I just wanted to see if there's anything, if you guys could, address this and have a hearing and at least put a temporary, stop to the enforcement, because Dan says, as long as I'm told otherwise. And there's a difference between, it just makes no sense. I can park on the street every day without, now they're just doing it, regardless. So if, I don't know what, power you guys have, but if you can enact something where it's not until the sign, I'm requesting, obviously, that the signs in the public area be updated to the 2 inches of snow, because, logical, I don't have to get into an argument, but I'm like, if that's the case, might as well have a sign up and just write tickets randomly, all year long. So I'm just asking, as one citizen, and there's probably many others who I know I've got photo references over the last month of the number of tickets, They're inconsistent between officers, they're inconsistent between public parking, and obviously I see, a few of you kind of nodding, so, I mean, it's been an issue, so I'll just leave that before you guys, and if there's anything that you guys can do to help me remedy the situation, that would be great.
What parking lot did you get your tickets?
I'm specifically talking about the one directly across from the police station over here. So, I mean, I know, even, once in a while, tickets, off, some days I write them, some days that I'm not, I'm like, how can how can I even, there's it's, the businesses, it's after 5 if you get home, or prior to 5, one side's parked, so it's either I gotta, go multiple blocks, so, that's the primary issue.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Then we have the Columbus School Board. Wanted to come in and give an update. Back in the fall and the summer, they were working on a launching a new legacy project, which they had a event about the middle of October or so. And we have Joel Conlon and Annette here, and Mary Arnold from the school board.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and esteemed council members and Columbus community stakeholders for the Columbus Public Schools. We're here to tell you a little story about what happened at our launch back in October, and we are here to give you an overview of what really took place that day. And the purpose of it was to really have a community discussion for developing some priorities and a clear vision throughout the community of, for our future of the education in our communities. And I really believe that great schools equal great communities. And we really appreciate all the support you give. And I see some of the faces that are familiar that were at the launch here. And we thank you for your dedication and service to that. So tonight we're going to tell you about those priorities, and we're going to tell you about the initial plan of action to address those priorities. The new legacy was held October 6th, 7th, and 8th, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday during the day. There were 110 community stakeholders attended that really committed themselves to basically about 16 hours of intense discussion. And we started out on the first day talking about the past and the things that are evolving in education. And then on the second day, on Friday, we talked about the MADs, the SADs, and the GLADs, and talked about what are the skills and talents our students you expect them to have when they graduate from Columbus schools. And the stakeholders came up with 24 priorities that they identified. So is 24 a priority? That's a long list, isn't it? And but they narrowed it down to 6 significant priorities. And so that I'm going to turn it over. We have a tag team here. I'm going to turn it over to Mary Arnold to tell you about what happened on Saturday when we talked about the present.
So on Saturday, one of the things we thought about was what do we want the district to look like in the year 2030, which sounds like it's a long ways away, but actually that's when the kids who are in 4K now are going to graduate. So the participants were asked, about what they would like to see our Columbus School District look like for those kids. And as Joe mentioned, we came up with 24 priorities. They're up on the screen there. I'm not going to read them all to you because we'll be here all night. But everybody had really interesting, creative, and different, diverse ideas about the direction that they'd like to see us go and what they wanted us to focus on. So we had to synthesize those down into 6 priorities, and you can see those on the screen in front of you too. We are a community that has aging facilities. We really want to emphasize STEAM, and for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, that's science, technology, engineering, and the A can either be art or agriculture, and M is math. And so want to expand those kinds of opportunities for kids. We definitely want to collaborate with the community. We think that's really important to develop those partnerships And we want to have up-to-date technology, and of course, we want to offer a wide variety of curriculum and co-curriculum kinds of opportunities for kids. So, just so you know, the Columbus School District is a policy governance school district. I think we're one of, 12 in the state? And one of the things we do under policy governance is we create ends policies that are actually the goals that the board has for the district, what we want to see happen for our kids and for our schools. And the three goals really involve academic achievement, citizenship, and the mission of the school district. And in keeping with that, the administrative team came up with an appraisal of the highest indicators for student success for Columbus School District kids. And they identified numerous indicators, all of which fit under these 6 themes that you can see now. Those are kind of small. I'm having trouble reading them, so hope you guys can read those. Which they identified as the district commitments. And so to just briefly go over those, every kid should have an equitable education experience, that we should have high-quality staff. I mean, some of these seem, pretty obvious, but still, it's, I think, good to talk about them. That we want to have a whole child education. I see I skipped a page here. We'll go back. Okay, so we're not only dealing with academic needs, but kids today, we want to make sure we're addressing their social, emotional needs. That we focus on the auxiliary services that are so important, like transportation and facilities and operations. That, again, we form these community and family connections, that we work with the community, we're in partnership with them. And then that we have a comprehensive curriculum and instruction. And so now, because we've got these identified, what do we do? Where do we go next? And we're going to turn this part of the presentation over to Annette, who's going to tell you about how we're going to launch and work on realizing our goals.
Thanks, Joe and Mary. So then, after we had this great community event, and we had about 110 participants in it, and we had these 6 priorities that were identified, and these priorities were really themes that came out of the event with all the 110 participants, and they really were themes. So the board interpreted those themes, and they gave them to us as administrators, but we had to create actions from the themes. So what you see based on those themes, we changed into actions, and we created action plans. We can't create an action plan for the year 2030. That's a 14-year action plan. So what we did is we created a 3-year action plan that'll get us started. And so these are our initial steps. And what you're going to see are really our foundational steps that we really need to have a really great start in a 14-year action plan in order to make this action. So if you look at our first action, is to create a community campus by building needed facilities and amenities. If we don't really have a good foundation over the next 3 years to build a good start on this one, we're not going to get that done in 14 years. So what you'll see here is our initial steps toward that priority. Things like determining instructional program, extracurricular, community-based needs of the district and our district facilities. We really need to figure out what it is that our facilities can currently do based on the needs of our district, of the students, of our programs, all of the things that we need and want our facilities to be able to do. We have aging facilities. We all know that. That was a pretty strong message that we received from that group during those 3 days. We need to hire a facilities manager. There was no class that I took in my superintendent's degree when I got my license that taught me about, like today, leaky roofs. There was no class that did that. So we need to hire a facilities manager that can help to make sure that we can take care of and maintain our facilities at this time. So we have done that. We've posted for the facilities manager, and we're in the process of hiring for that. We need to review the current use of our buildings by the community, and we need to look at our facility limitations based on the needs that we have and want our buildings to be able to do. And then explore the opportunities for a community campus based on the current facilities that are needs and also what the community is saying they want to be able to use our buildings for. So we really need to have a really good idea of what our buildings can do, what we want our buildings to do, and then put that together and create a map, if you will, for our facilities. The second goal is about STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art and ag, and math. This is really where our students need a solid educational background. This is where the job market is, and we need to make sure our students are prepared for it. So we really feel we have a good start in this area. Our Director of Curriculum Instruction just recently met with our K-12 team and has already done a situational appraisal of where we're at with STEAM. They are doing a good job of looking at the gaps. We feel our Discover Charter School has a good, strong start in this area and are really, excuse the pun, but are chartering the waters, if you will, for our district. And so they're going to be kind of leading the way for us and helping us implement this district-wide. Not only K-8, we really feel this is a K-12 expansion, not just a K-8. We're looking at the gaps, and we're looking at the opportunities that we will have for all students to expand that. So we feel we have a really good start on this one. Probably going to be expanding way past these 3 goals that we have in the next 3 years. The third goal that we have is addressing students' social needs. We have, for example, poverty and mental health. These were the 2 areas that really came out in the community conversation that we had, and using community collaboration to get this done. Again, it's a lot of assessing. What are the needs of our students in the community? And we really feel it's not just our students, but also the families of our students, looking at the gaps we have in resources, and looking at opportunities that we have for resources within our communities, and then looking at how we can implement those resources. One particular need that we have is in mental health. We have a huge gap in our community to provide resources for kids and families within mental health, and we really need to figure out how we can address that gap. So that is one that we are currently working on and will continue to work on for our families. The fourth goal is to continue to offer a wide variety of course offerings and co-curricular activities to address our student needs. It's under one goal, but this really is 2 separate things. Co-curricular activities are after-school offerings, and then course offerings obviously are during the school day. Again, we'll work closely with our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and also with our coaches and our athletic directors, both at the middle school and at the high school, to do this. Again, a lot of assessment here, figuring out what are the needs of our students, where are they going after school, what are the needs that are driving for their coursework, and then again, what are their interests? What's going to engage kids in school? And a lot of times it's not just the classroom that engages kids, but it's the other things that we're offering that are going to keep kids interested and engaged in school to make sure that they stay there and want to be connected in some way, shape, or form. We have to find out what they want and then offer those opportunities to them. So it's a lot of what you see up there is that foundational work, assessing, figuring out where the gaps are, and getting the opportunities there for kids. The fifth goal is about developing and expanding community partnerships. It really is going to begin with defining what a community partnership is. We have no definition. It's not written down anywhere. We have a lot of opportunities, and we have a lot of connections with community partnerships, if you will, community resources, all of that we're currently doing, but we have nothing written down. We have no partnership definition. We have nothing anywhere. So we have a lot of things going on, but we don't have it documented anywhere. We need to start doing that so that we can look at what we do have and then say, but we have this whole area over here that we're not addressing and we don't have any partnerships. So we want to make sure that we can explore those opportunities once again and make sure that we fill in those gaps or absences that we have. And then explore those that we already have and build on those. And then the final one is to implement and sustain up-to-date technology within our schools. This is an area, again, that we really feel we have a really strong program in already. We do have our One to World initiative where all students have technology in their hands currently, and we want to make sure that we don't fall behind in that, and we want to stay up to date and make sure that our infrastructure, the technology is up to date, and make sure that we don't have gaps. And then, but more than that is make sure that we are aligned with the curricular program and use it to enhance our instruction. We don't want technology to become the instruction, but we want to enhance it to make sure that we're using it to improve on what we're already doing. And then I'll obviously follow a hardware replacement cycle. We don't ever want to get to the point where in our budget, we can't sustain what we need to do within the budget. So that's our 3-year, hopefully, action plan that we have set based on what the community and our stakeholders told us we need to do, so that in 14 years we can make these priorities become a reality. That one page that you have really is our basically 2030 plan, with a little snapshot on the side. And every year what we look to do is update that 3-year plan, so the priorities are always going to remain the same, but the little action points underneath it will be updated every 3 years. So it's our 3-year plan on a page. Are there any questions that I can hopefully answer for you? We went through that really fast.
Any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you gonna make a new 3-year plan next year, or you're looking at this once every 3 years?
We will be updating, reviewing every year.
Okay.
But there'll be a new so like we'll update it if we have to, but a new 3-year plan will come out every 3 years.
Okay.
If that makes sense. We'll be reviewing every year, so we might have to adjust and adapt, but a 3-year plan will come out every 3 years.
Excellent.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you
luck.
very much.
Then we had a proclamation honoring Pat Beghen retiring as Columbia County Emergency Management Director. Is he coming? No? Okay. All right, so he's retiring after about 25 years to the county, 10 years as the Emergency Management Director, a long career in public safety positions across various state and local agencies. And I just thought it was appropriate to at least do a resolution or something honoring his service. 2 big natural disasters we had in recent years, of course, the 2008 flood, and then more recently the 2015 windstorm. And he was very helpful, not only during the storm, but also especially helpful in working with city staff on working with the state then to recover money from the state emergency disaster fund. So that helped the city with losses that weren't covered under insurance. So appreciate his service, and I guess I'd entertain a motion to approve the proclamation.
So moved? Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And did we have any other citizens present that wish to address the council tonight? All right. Then we have the consent agenda. There are 6 items on the consent agenda. Were there any requests to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business items numbers 1 and 2. Paul, did you want to kick this off for us?
Sure. Items 1 and 2 are basically similar issues before you. It's my understanding that the 2 families that were displaced as a result of the July 21, 2016 damage done to the water tower have settled their claims with the city. If you recall, a couple months ago, they filed formal claims with the city, and the city council has been evaluating and discussing those claims over the last couple of meetings. At its last meeting, it authorized Patrick to reach out to the affected families and propose settlement offers, which I understand have now been accepted by both families. So, in exchange for a monetary payment to the Peffer family and the Nurswick family, the city would be asking both families to execute a release of all claims basically saying that they will come back to the city now or in the future for any claims that may have may have come from the July 21, 2016 incident.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to approve the settlement with the Pfeffer family.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, and we'll take the roll.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler,
Nay.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
4 yes, 1 no.
Thank you. Similarly, item number 2, I would entertain a motion to approve the settlement with the Nurswick family.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, and we'll take the roll.
Traxler,
Nay.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
4 yes, 1 no.
Thank you. Item 3, we have consider and take action on a letter of engagement with Baker Tilly for a sewer rate study and review for future capital projects. Kim, did you want to say anything? Patrick? If you wanted to say anything? If there's questions? All right, seeing none, then this was discussed, I believe, at the ad hoc financial
Correct.
policy committee.
In July, or in January.
And it's moved here. So are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to approve the letter of engagement with Baker Tilly for the sewer rate study and review of future capital projects.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, and we'll take the roll.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you. Item 4, we have Resolution 117, initial resolution authorizing general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $645,000. And we also have several other items related to bonds and financing, and we have Maureen in the back from Ellers if she'd want to come up and start discussing this with us. I know Maureen and Greg have been working with Kim and staff on bringing this stuff, getting it all ready to go out for sale.
Okay, great, thank you. I am here, as the mayor described, I'm here to discuss several items on the agenda. It's gonna be item number 4 through 9 we're gonna go through. Item 4 through 7 are all gonna be related to one issue. So I guess let me first start off. I'm here to discuss three borrowings. We're gonna first go over a general obligation bond issue, which is going to be identified as 2017A, and items on the agenda 4 through 7 are going to be related to that issuance. Then there's going to be general obligation note that we're going to talk about that's just going to have a shorter term than the bonds. That's item number 8. And then last will be, and I'm sorry, we identify that issue as 2017B. And then the third borrowing that is being asked to be considered tonight is going to be item number 9, and that is a sewer system revenue bond, and that's identified as 2017C. I believe you have all 3 of these sale day or pre-sale reports for each of these issues. So we're going to walk through each of those. I just want to let you know what items we are going to be asking you to take out action on and what they relate to. So, okay, the first pre-sale report I'd like to go over is the one with titled 2017A. This is consideration for the city to undertake $1,545,000 in general obligation corporate purpose bonds. The format of all of these pre-sale reports is going to be very similar. The first couple pages after the cover are just going to be details about the sale, as well as different obligations that the city understands that they're going to undertake for IRS, with IRS rules and legal obligations as well. That's going to be standard in all of these reports. So for this first report, if we can direct our attention to page 6, that's where I'd like to start off with. Before we talk about undertaking any new borrowings, I wanted to first take a look at what the existing debt looks like for the city. And on the left, we have the total general obligation debt that is the principal and interest payments that are structured over a 20-year period of time, the total revenue bonds, the principal and interest that are structured over a 20-year period of time, that total debt in the yellow, and then any fees associated with that. In the red, in the middle, are all of our abated sources of revenue for those debt service payments. So on the far right is what the resulting debt levy is. We have the 2017 debt levy that was part of the adopted 2017 budget, and then 2018 and on is what we project that levy would be. One item that's noted on this chart that I just wanted to emphasize, the net levy or the net debt levy for 2017 is about $619,000. We just want to make sure that I know that in our earlier projections we had a higher amount, and then some of the assessments were used to, or prepaid assessments were used to offset that debt service payment, and a reduced amount resulted in what we had projected. Just want to make sure that, just a reminder that it's important to make sure that the application of prepaid special assessments is applied consistently or stays close to this schedule, because if it isn't, then there can be unanticipated levy changes. And with what we have projected here on the far right, we've structured the new issues around that. So it's just something to keep in mind, that you want to make sure that the assessments are being applied consistently. Okay, so let's move on to the new borrowing that I'm here to talk about tonight. On page 7, we have the information or the details related to how we've come to the sizing of $1,545,000. There are two purposes for this borrowing. First is going to be for the levy portion of James Street. There's a part of this sizing includes a reimbursement for some preliminary expenses. And then the second part of the borrowing is going to be for TID 4 utility extensions. Just want to walk through how we got to the total number for that TID 4 piece. There is a storm water ditch project that will be fully offset with an advance from TID number 3. And then the largest portion of these expenses are going to be for the extension of water and sewer utilities. Those amounts of the total project amounts are included in there. There's going to be about $500,000 of cash on hand to offset those about $800,000 of sewer expenses, and those are going to come from two sources. About $300,000 will be coming from FROM, and then about $200,000 will be coming from the sewer utility. Then there's a small portion there for the gas and electric utilities as well. So the total, this is going to get to item number 4 and 5 tonight. The total street improvement projects, or the street improvement portion of this borrowing, is $645,000. The TID 4 utility projects is a $900,000 amount. That's those amounts are included on the resolutions that are being considered tonight. On the following page, page 8, we've taken both of those two purposes and structured their principal and interest payments over a 19-year period of time. Then on the far right, you have what those total payments will be in the yellow columns. On the next page, page 9, we have the projected levy and rate impact of the existing debt service schedule that we looked at before, and then what the new impact will be on the new borrowing. So we have that debt the net debt levy, in the middle column there, part of the existing general obligation debt. Again, it's about 619,000, and then that debt service tax rate. In the middle column in yellow, we're looking at the first issue there with the structure over the 19-year period. We'll look at the GO notes on the right in a moment, but the overall debt service levy impact and rate change are going to be on the far right. I'd like to just point that out when we go and look at it again when we add the GO note, or we go over the GO note portion. Okay. On page 10, this is our tax increment district number 4 cash flow projection. This shows on the left, what the incoming revenue to the TID is expected to be. We show that $900,000 borrowing for the utility portion. And we've looked at this before. We show the Ottery and Duffy incentives being paid back over their agreed amount of time. And then we show a advance from TID 3 that we talked about, that amount that they're paying for the stormwater ditch being paid back, as well as a partial repayment of the sewer advances, and then a proposed incentive in the middle. What we show here is that the TID cash flow would be able to support this borrowing for the utility project with the proposed development with the different developers that have been discussed at this time. But it's tight. It's a tight cash flow, and I just want to point that out. But there would be sufficient revenue available to make those debt payments. And then the last item that I wanted to look at this first packet is going to be the debt limit, or the debt limit analysis on taking on these 2 new borrowings. So I can't remember if I've been here before and discussed this, so I just will go over it. Again, the state has a limit on how much the municipalities can issue for general obligation debt. So with these new bonds and the new notes, it brings you up to a little over $10.5 million and of new and existing debt, which brings you at a little over 55% of your limit, and leaves you about $8.4 million in available capacity. As principal is being paid off in the next 3 years, you're recovering that limit, and by 2020 you're under 40%. Okay, so those are going to be the first 3 resolutions that are being considered tonight. Okay, so I'd like to move on to the 2017B issue. It's the amount of $1,130,000 in general obligation promissory notes. And again, the first few pages, just information about the upcoming borrowing. Then, actually, I'd like to, if we could, before we go on to the next page, we can stop at page 5 on this. I'd like to just talk to you about the timeline of events related to all 3 of these issues, if we go forward with them. The timeline here is going to be with the pre-sale review tonight, February 7th. And what is being considered are initial resolutions that would authorize the issuance of the bonds, the notes, and then the revenue bonds. That then starts the process for us to move forward with issuing the debt. Then with the 2 general obligation issues, we would have a conference call with a rating agency, which is Moody's Investor Services, on February 20th. And then there would be an official statement, which is the official document of the borrowing that would be would be available to the public at the end of the month. And then the Common Council meeting would be held about a month from now, March 7th, and we would take bids on your bonds early in the morning, and then be there. Greg or myself will be here at night to provide you the results of that sale. Then the money is actually received on April 4th, and then there's an item here that we'll talk about that will occur on April 13th. Okay. So, moving on to page 6 of this packet, we are talking about the general obligation note size of $1,130,000. And there are two purposes that are included within this note. One is going to be a payoff and refunding of the sewer portion of the 2007A bonds. If you look at this sizing worksheet, you'll see several different purposes were included in that original 2007A issue. And those different utilities and entities are able to pay off the majority of the issue, but there's going to be a portion, the sewer portion is going to be what's going to be refinanced. So the electric, water, aquatic center, and the TID 3 portions are all going to be paid for, paid for with cash on hand. The sewer portion, a little over $620,000 of what we're refinancing. And that's how, pardon me, there's also new money portions in this general obligation notes that statutorily could not be included with the bonds. It's about $450,000. It includes a truck purchase and swimming pool improvement. So that's why we included it with the notes. Okay, page 7, similar to what we looked at in the last report, is we have the new money portion of the borrowing, that truck purchase and the swimming pool improvements, and then the sewer refunding portion. Both are going to be principal and interest paid back over 9 years, and the total amounts on the far right in the yellow columns. So something that's unique in this report compared to the last one is, since we're doing a refunding, on page 8, I'd like to look at what the estimated refunding savings would be of the sewer portion of the 2007 GO bonds. So on the left, we have what the existing issue looks like, what the principal and interest payments are over the next 9 years, and that interest rate of 4%. So what with our refunding, we've estimated that we've estimated an average interest rate of about 2.5%, structured over that same amount of time, and what the savings that we believe can be achieved, along with the portions that are being paid off with cash. So on the far right, we have the electric or the utilities savings, the aquatic center, the sewer, and the TID 3 savings over the next 9 years. Once you consider what that total savings is, plus the cash, or less the cash that's been applied, the present value savings is about $31,000 or $31,500, which is about 3% of the refunded principal.
Quick question.
Yeah.
The rate in 2007 was 4%.
The rate on the existing maturities, I don't know what the rates were earlier, the 10 years prior to that, but what the rate on the maturities that are going to be refunded is 4% right
Okay.
now. Okay, so page 9 shows us what the TID cash flow looks like for TID number 3. So if you remember on the sizing worksheet, part of the issue that is the 2007A issue that's being refunded had a TID 3 purpose to it. And TID 3's portion is going to be paid off with cash on hand. So in this, on this cash flow in the yellow columns, on the far left, the first yellow column, you'll see that 175, that's the 2007A issue that's being paid off, in addition to the other principal and interest, or the other principal payment that is due this year. And then we have the resulting cash flow, and the projected closure date right now is 2022, and that is 1 year earlier than its final year in 2023. So one item I just wanted to note, as you see there in the yellow column, there also is another general obligation bond. That's a 2007B issue, And we have looked at refunding this issue as well, but the plan is with the closure date in 2022, that the TID would have sufficient revenue available in the fund to just pay that issue off and not need to refund it. Okay, and then this is a page that we looked at earlier. On page 10, this is that tax rate impact and levy impact. What I wanted to just point out is on the far right-hand column with the two new issues, the overall impact in with comparing the existing levy with the new levy in 2017 is about $100,000, or I would say over the next 4 years or so is really about $100,000 increase to the levy and about a 30-cent increase to the projected rate. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on that one? Because I'm at the end of that report and just wanted to point out that item number 8 is what is being considered with that report.
I did have a question.
Yeah.
So going back to the 2017A, page 7,
Yes.
could you give me more detail on what reimbursement for soft costs of $150,000 is? What are
Those
soft costs and a little information?
So those were preliminary. Let me see. Did I pick it? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We're going back to that for the first report,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't know when you were gonna pause, so.
I didn't ask for any questions. I apologize about that. So let me just go back here. Okay. So the reimbursement, there was a, I think that was in August or July. There was a reimbursement resolution, if you guys recall, considering that to pay for portions of the James Street project that you plan to go forward and borrow for in the future. So what's included with soft costs are any preliminary expenditures like design work, engineering work. We differentiate between hard costs and soft costs. So hard costs would be more the hard construction costs that would be undertaken when you start to work on street improvements. The soft costs are those costs that are
Okay.
a part of the planning stages.
All right. And then on page 10, the projected revenues for TID 4, that's without Vita Plus, right? That's because it's not.
Correct. That has not been included in this.
All right. That was all I had.
Great, okay. So moving on to the final report here is going to be the item identified as Series 2017C. And this is for, we're going to look over a proposed borrowing for $1,940,000 in sewer system revenue bonds. Okay. And that is going to be item number 9 on our agenda tonight. Okay, first few pages again, just all the details about the sale. Let's start looking at page 6. So this borrowing is going to be for sewer projects related to the James Street constructions as well as the lift station. And we've got those costs listed as well as the expenses and how we've come to the $1,940,000 borrowing size. One item that I wanted to point out that's different than the two other general obligation issues that we looked at is that with a revenue issue, the debt service is, the pledge is the revenue from the sewer utility. And because there's different requirements than the general obligation debt when issuing revenue bonds. And one of those is that a debt service reserve needs to be funded. So you'll see that under related expenses. And what that is there's different tests to determine what that amount is, but generally it's about 1 year's principal and interest that needs to be kept in a contingency fund on hand during the life of the issue. So we've included that amount, in order to fund that, we've included the amount in the borrowing size. Just wanted to point that out. On page 7, we have the principal and interest structured over the next 20 years. And like I said, this will be paid for with sewer system revenues, different than the general obligation bonds that will be paid for with levy tax dollars. We have the total principal and interest payments that annually have a level payment of about $130,000 over the next 20 years. Okay, and then again, unique to a revenue issue are these going to be the next 2 pages of our report. They are a coverage analysis. In order to get to look at the coverage analysis, we need to look at a historical statement of revenues and expenses for the sewer utility. So a little background, with a revenue issue, the utility needs to show that it's able to make a coverage test of 1.25. What that means is that for every dollar, for every dollar of debt that the utility pays out, there needs to be $1.25 of revenue available to meet those debt payments. So we go back and look through your audit and your operating income and determine what that amount is. We included here a trend with your, we wanted to look at a historical trend, so we included audited numbers from 2013, 14, 15, and 16. What we first do is take the revenue minus expenses to get to the operating, total operating income. One item I wanted to mention, if you look there, while the revenues have remained steady, the operating and maintenance expenses have gone up steadily over the last couple years, or last few years. And as a result, you have a declining operating income. So in the unaudited numbers in 2016, you're just under $900 for operating income. So when we determine what that revenue available for debt service is, we add back in the depreciation. So you'll see that next line item, we've added that in, and we have then the revenue available for debt service. So to come up with our coverage ratio, we look at what the existing debt payment, I guess I want to clarify, all of this is related to before existing debt service payments. We're going to look at what the coverage is before taking on the new debt. So we look at what the revenue available for debt service is, we look at what your existing payments are, and right now your revenue debt service coverage is about 3. And that means that there's $3 available in revenue for every dollar $3 of revenue available for every dollar of debt. So that's healthy, that's strong. We also like to take a look at what the general obligation debt that is abated with revenues from the sewer utility, what the coverage looks like with that. And you want to be at about $1 or $1.10. So we took that, and the overall coverage is about $2, so healthy. But what now we want to look on the final page here with this new issue. What does the coverage look like? So I think that this is page. There's not a number on here, but it's going to be page 9. And we have the general obligation debt on the left. You have your 2007 GEO Clean Water Fund loan, and then your 2017 GEO note, the portion that will be refunding the sewer issue, or sewer portion of that 2007A issue. Then we have the revenue existing revenue debt, which includes a 2007 Clean Water Fund loan, and then another 2011 Clean Water Fund loan, and then this new issue with about $130,000 over the next 20 years. Then we look at what the revenue bond coverage is on the far right. You see it's about average over the next 10 years, about 1.4. So it exceeds the 1.2 test that you have to have. Then we look at that total debt number, and then the all debt coverage, and over the next 10 years, you're again at about one, still exceed the test about 1 point, like $1.10 or $1.15, but still a little bit tight because there's not a lot of cushion to go over what we would recommend, but you're still meeting what we would recommend for coverage. Okay, so that was the final report, and then item 9 is the resolution to move forward with this issue. Does anyone have any questions about that report? Okay.
Any questions in general or
Yeah.
questions on the process?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused, and it's between a couple of the different reports. On the 27B promissory notes,
Yes.
on page 6, when it lists the items that are being paid off, it looks like we're paying off some pool from the aquatic center. Is that correct? 185? Or is that being refinanced?
Good questions. There's a lot of information on here, a lot of different purposes and numbers. So I think ultimately when I look at this, what I think is that last portion, the sewer, it says sewer principal and interest, and then the sewer debt service funds on hand. That's the portion that's going to be refinanced. Everything above that is going to be paid off with cash on hand. So that aquatic center, the principal and interest that they have outstanding for that purpose is gonna be paid off with cash.
Okay, so then, the other half of that question is, when we go to the 2017 A bonds on page 6, it shows, I guess, a revenue to go against the debt service less CAAC funds of $25,000 annually.
I just wanna make sure I'm on the, am I looking still at the B?
This would be on the A.
The A, okay. And what page was that?
Page 6.
Okay.
It says less CAAC funds, and so I'm a little confused, because it seems like maybe we're
Yeah.
paying off some debt at the pool, but then it shows that we have some funds available that we're gonna be somehow sprinkling through.
Okay, so let me make sure I'm on the 2017 A report, right?
Yep.
And you said page 6?
Correct.
Okay,
Would be the fourth, or the third red column in from the right. $25,000 annual contribution.
the CAAC fund? Is that
Correct.
your- Okay, thank you for getting me to this point. No, okay. Did you have any clarification on that, Kim? Otherwise, I'll try to. It is it is the existing, on page 6, so that would be before we take on any other
Okay.
debt. Does that answer your question?
That does.
Okay,
That does.
okay, I just wasn't sure if there was something I was missing, so, okay.
I think I was missing something.
Yes.
Any other questions? All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Kim. Then we have item 4, which is consider and take action on resolution 117. Initial resolution authorizing general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $645,000 for street improvement projects. Would entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
Motion to approve resolution 1-17.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Item 5 is resolution 217, initial resolution authorizing general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $900,000 for community development projects in TIF 4. Would entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2-17.
Second.
And is there any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you. Item 6, consider and take action on resolution 317, resolution directing publication of notice to electors. Would entertain a motion to approve 317.
Motion to approve resolution 317.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll on that
Joe?
resolution.
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler.
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you. Item 7 is resolution 417, resolution providing for the sale of 1,545,000 general obligation corporate purpose bonds series 2017A. Would entertain a motion to approve 417.
Motion to approve resolution number 4-17.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll.
Traxler,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you. 8 is resolution 517, resolution providing for the sale of approximately 1,130,000 general obligation promissory notes series 2017B.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 5-17.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you. Finally, we have 9, which is resolution 617, resolution providing for the sale of approximately $1,940,000 of sewage system revenue bonds, series 2017C.
Make a motion to approve resolution 6-17.
Make a second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We will take a,
Nice try.
we will take a roll call vote on that.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler. Hendrickson,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thought we'd approve it 2 times for good measure. Just want to thank the council and the staff and Maureen and Kim and everyone for all the work on getting to this point on these projects. It's a lot of work that will be going on this year and in the future. Item 10, we have task order 2016-12 with R&M for 2017 James Street Sanitary Construction Administration Services. Jason is here, if there are any questions for Jason. Seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to approve the task order.
Motion to approve task order 2016-12.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you. Item 11 is consider and take action on task order 2017-1 with R&M for 2017 street maintenance. Similarly, Jason is here if there are any questions. He looks like he's eager to answer any questions. No? All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve the task order.
Motion to approve task order 2017-01.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you. Item 12, we have task order 17-2 with R&M for 2017 sewer collection system maintenance. Jason's here. If there are questions, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve task order 2017-02.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll.
Traxler,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
unanimous.
All right, thank you. Item 13, Amy Jo's been waiting patiently in the back. We have considered and take action on contract for pool resurfacing with consideration of alternate surface color. Amy, did you want to say anything, or Davis, or? No? So if there are any questions, I believe Mid-America is the recommended provider, and kind of the one question remaining was the color, the alternate pigment type color of a robin's egg blue. Which I'm not sure I necessarily fully understand if there's heat savings to that or not, maybe. I don't know. A little bit. Okay. So if there are any questions or discussion for Amy Jo, Rod?
How much was the alternate color gonna add to the bottom line? I just wanted to get you up here.
The original quote was for $173,000, and it's about $12,700, so it'd be $186,600 if you went with the alternate color.
Otherwise, we get white.
The original quote of $173,000 would be the white,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, I wasn't able to make the last meeting to let you know this, but I would support adding the Robin's Egg blue color. I think
Thank
it's
you. Just a cosmetic.
yeah.
It's gonna be somewhat of a grand reopening to begin with the restructure and resurfacing, so.
Would it also help protect against things like the blackness that ended up on the white?
It's just a color, just an enhancement. The resurfacing will help with all of that.
How long will this last?
There is, what is the year? It's like a
25
25-year
year.
warranty, I believe.
25-year warranty. So it'd be about $500 a year for the Robin's Egg Blue. Plus it would help heat the pool a little bit because it's
Very little.
a little, like $100.
Sure. We'll go with 110.
So we're talking about
The
$400
darker
a
color
year.
will, absorb some of the heat a little bit more.
Michael?
I'm in favor of the Robin's Egg Blue. I think this is the time to do it. If we're gonna give a makeover to the pool, I think the Robin's Egg Blue will make it very obvious that it's been resurfaced, and I also think that blue would go nicely with the Pelican slide.
I agree.
I also agree.
Okay.
And I like the Pelican slide as well because it's a higher profile than the other two slides. I think it's gonna be more visible. It's a little bit different than what we have, and it's the lowest price out of the three. I just think visually it'll add to the pool.
Okay. So we have then item 13, which is the pool resurfacing and whether or not it will have the Robin's Egg blue.
Would this be 2 votes or 1 vote?
Depends on how the motion reads.
I'll make a motion to approve the pool resurfacing with the alternate surface color of Robin's Egg Blue, the additional cost to go along with that.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat,
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item, don't go too far.
I
Item
won't.
14 is consider and take action on use of 2015 bonding funds for the purchase of a kiddie slide for the Columbus Aquatic Center. And this was also discussed at the last committee of the whole, given that the kiddie slide is in disrepair, given that the surface is being redone. It probably makes more sense to address the slide now than addressing it later. There are some items of slides in the packet, so if there are any questions or motions or recommendations. I think Michael wanted to make a motion before.
I do like the Pelican. Patrick?
I'm just the messenger here, but when Alderman Reed emailed and told me she was going to make it, she told me her least favorite was the Pelican, but
Oh.
that was I promised I would convey her thoughts to the body, so.
Okay. So,
The Pelican itself does stand 7 feet tall, but the slide is only at 4.5 feet.
Yeah, I know. I just think that you'll see it like, you know, from a further
would stand
distance. And it is the least expensive,
And
and
we
it's
can
something
get any
different.
color we choose. It doesn't have to be these colors, but this does fit in with the other play attractions.
7
Should we go
feet is
Robin's
way
egg
too
blue?
tall for the mayor, though. If we can get a little smaller one, maybe that would be better.
Side by side.
All right, so, did you want to make a motion on that?
Unless anyone else has any opinions, I'll make a motion to approve the Pelican slide and the bonding funds for the purchase of the kiddie slide at the aquatic center.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, Ann will take the roll.
Malat.
Aye.
Rule.
Aye.
Tome.
Aye.
Traxler.
Aye.
Hendrickson.
Aye.
Unanimous. Could was that with the Pelican or just to use the bond fund?
I took it as with the
With the
Pelican.
Okay.
Is
Pelican
that,
bond funds.
That's everyone's
Sorry, Trina.
idea. Okay,
Okey-doke.
and then that will be
Thank you
moving forward.
very much.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks,
Have a
Amy.
You want to
happy
give a
meeting.
15-second pitch to buy memberships? A 15-second commercial to buy memberships for the summer.
Well, it is the month of February. If you purchase your aquatic center membership now, you would receive a $10 concession card. And now that this has all been approved, can I go out and advertise now and say that we're doing this?
By all
All right.
means.
So, buy memberships. And Andy, we did add the couple pass. It's all in the system, so I'll be
Oh, good.
doing all that this week. So,
Excellent.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Item 16, we have consider and take action on mayoral appointment of Christine Hart to the Recreation Advisory Board. So we are here, a meeting after last meeting where there was some discussion of possibly looking at alternative ways to handle appointments. I've given it some thought in the last, I guess it would be 3 weeks. Personally, I don't think there's a need to make any changes. I think there's 2 ways that changes possibly could be made. The first would obviously be council could pass an ordinance requiring how appointments would be made, and the change would be then, codified in the ordinance book. I think the second way, and I believe would be my preferable method of addressing changes, would be that if the mayor at the time wished to require nominees to a board or commission to prepare a statement or be present at a meeting, I think that would also be the prerogative of the mayor making the appointment at that time. That being said, I think if there is a desire to make changes, I think that there should at least be, or it would make sense to have a difference between commissions and boards and committees, where there's commission is a more of an independent, autonomous body, which doesn't necessarily, in most cases, report back to the council. Specific ones that come to mind would be police and fire, library, water and light, plan commission sort of is different, but I think there's a difference between a commission and a board. So, what direction this goes, it probably won't involve me for to consider, as I obviously am not a candidate for re-election in the spring. But if there is a desire for the council to make changes directed towards the appointment process based on the council making that change, I would advise that something be done soon at a committee of the whole level to get that discussion going, because as you know, mayoral appointments for citizen members of committees, most of those typically come up in May. And so the mayor at that time will have a number of appointments to be made, and if there's going to be a significant change, I just would advise that it be done prior to that. That being said, there is an appointment pending tonight, Christine Hart to the Recreation Advisory Board. I'd ask for a favorable vote. I don't know Christine as well, maybe as I've known some people I've appointed. She is involved, her and her husband have kids in the community. Did see them Saturday night even at the Columbus Girls Backcourt Club dinner, fundraiser. She expressed a desire to serve previously. With the resignation of Adrian Shepard due to his work requirements, she's offered again. I think, Amy Joes brought it back to me. I think I'd like to ask for a favorable vote for her on the rec committee. So.
If I could make a
Yep.
comment, Mayor? Mayor Crombie and I did have some discussion on this yesterday, and I think we agree on many of these points. I think that the circumstances tonight are much different than they were for the last appointment, seeing that the Recreation Advisory Board is, full of volunteers that help with the various recreation programs and advise one another on the programming and the goals, I guess, of the rec committee, and that is slightly different than the last appointment. As Kelly said, maybe there's a bit more autonomy in a commission-type body. As far as, addressing the issues in the future, the conversation Kelly and I had also is about Kelly has the right to make the appointments the way that he wishes, as he has the last 4 years. I do think there's a certain amount of discretion that any mayor can use. I don't know at this point if it's something that needs to be codified in an ordinance or not, but I do support this appointment that Kelly's making, and he did point out to me that Kristen has applied previously and has shown interest and has young children in the rec program, so I support the appointment.
The previous time I did appoint Michelle Wallace, also has kids. I've known Michelle since almost 19 years. They bought my childhood home, so that's how I knew them.
Sure.
So someday it will be a National Historic Landmark, I'm sure. If there's anything else? All right, then seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, and we'll take the roll.
Rule,
Aye.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler.
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Right, thank you. Item 17, operator licenses. It does not look like we have any this week. Is that correct, Dan?
No.
Okay. And then 18, we have claims in the amount of $1,390,354.31. Is there any discussion on the claims? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, and we'll take the roll.
Tome,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Malat.
Aye.
Rule,
Aye.
unanimous.
All right, Patrick.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things to report tonight. First and foremost is the coming James Street project, just a few things to share with the public. Staff has already met with a couple of the representatives from the contractors, Michaels being the main contractor, the general, and Gerke is the underground. So we're getting to establish those relationships. I'm sure we'll be talking with them quite a bit over the next few months. What we are hearing in recent meetings with the Department of Transportation, that the project could get started as soon as March 1st. The weather, I think, is favorable with the warmer temperatures, so they'll want to get going. To note to the public, I'm working with DOT on setting up another public information meeting before the project starts. We don't have a date yet, but as soon as we do, we'll get that message out to the public so they know when and where. Also working with Water and Light Department on a mailing to those that are directly affected right along the corridor so they can be made aware. And as I established last year with the project, the street project, making a call for those who would like to get emails and updates on what's going on. please just let me know. I'll put you on the list, and we'll try to keep you informed. So, the other thing I have to report tonight is just that when the pavilion project grand opening was set for December, we had bad weather, and it's been rescheduled now for Sunday, March 26th from 1 to 4. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. You took much of what I was going to discuss. Did anyone have anything to add up here? All right, so seeing none, I was going to talk about the James Street, and that's obviously moving forward after a long time of getting to this point. I just want to thank our local Olympian, Heather Miller, who came down from Minnesota to speak at the Columbus Girls Backcourt Dinner. I think she gave a good speech. And also want to thank Christine Belport from NBC 15, who came to Columbus recently to do her On the Road with Christine Belport series, featuring Darvin Fry, Dan Amato, and myself. And I think I do better on radio, but that's a whole nother another story. But I think that we got some good publicity. It was nice to have a TV camera in Columbus for a non-weather related event for once. And hopefully that generates some afternoon stays or even overnight stays or just little trips up from Madison area to Columbus. And thank DPW for all the work on the snow and ice removal. I know it's normally a several day project, almost getting all the snow piles and salting and everything caught up when you get a snowstorm. And it seems like we've had more ice problems this year than past years, but we're still okay on the salt, Davis, thanks. So it's gonna get better. And then also we have the weekend day in the park, which is this Saturday. It's supposed to be the winter day in the park, but looking on the weather forecast, we're gonna probably be calling it the spring day in the park. But if there's snow or no snow, I think there's still some events that you can come out and take a look and see. I know Melanie and her group have been working hard on getting that ready, so I hope some people can come out and enjoy the activities. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we will stand adjourned for approximately 5 minutes or so between meetings. Thank you.